Shalom. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and salutations to the Akim around the world that pushes truth and sincerity. I'd like to do a short lesson here entitled Lending and Returning, because lending is something very important. Because remember, all of you going through tribulation at this point in time, and sometimes, a lot of the time, the Most High will send a brother to a sister brother, and a lot of that would be through lending, trying to help him out either financially or whatever the case may be. But returning is also a very important thing, because everything is a balance. You can't borrow and not repay. If the person tell you to keep what you borrow, then it's all well and fine. But you can't just borrow and not return. We'll go down into these definitions. I'll start with Deuteronomy. I'll start with lending first. Deuteronomy 15. I'll start from 1. It says, at the end of every seven years, thou shalt make a release, right? And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. So the 7th year, if somebody owe you money, how much ever it might be, if they wasn't able to pay you back at that point in time, you had to release it. Now, if they could have paid you back and just choose not to, that would be on their head, because the Most High will know if they was willing or not. But at the 7th year, you have to release it. It say of a foreigner, thou mayest exact it again, which is like somebody who is not of Israel. But once it pertains to Israel, you have to release it. It say, but that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release. It says, save when there shall be no poor among you, for the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. It says, only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all these commandments which I command thee this day, for the Lord thy God blessed thee, as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. Now this is how it was before we actually go under the curses, and now we have to borrow from the other nations because we're poor. It says, and thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. It says, if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren, which is your own kind, within any of thy gates, in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. So you're supposed to assist your brother if you're not able. Right? It says, but thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, thou shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need, in that which he wanted. You understand? So it's sufficient for his need. You gotta be able to help him, if you could, at least enough to get by. You gotta help him to buy a car and a house. But if he need things to take care of himself, you're supposed to help him out. Is what the law states. It says, beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him naught. You understand? You're saying you ain't want to let him that money because the 7th year coming and you don't feel you to pay back in time. So your eye being evil towards your brother, because he starve, so you wouldn't have to spend that money and lose it. And he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin unto thee, because the law states that you had to lend him if he in need. It said, thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him. It said, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. So it was a balance that was supposed to be fulfilled. The ones who on top, or the ones who had plenty, were supposed to help the ones who had little. Because a lot of the time when Israel do things they wasn't supposed to be doing, sometimes your punishment will be to have little or to go through hardship. And the ones who have more would be the ones to help you. It was a balance that was being fulfilled. Right. It said, therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in the land. So this was a commandment. You wouldn't see it in the 10 Commandments, but this was a commandment that the Most High gave unto Israel. Say Deuteronomy 23, verse 19. It said, thou shalt not lend upon usury to thy brother. It say usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of anything that is lent upon usury. And usury pertains to like profit. You can lend your brother $10 and you want to get back 15 in return, or even 11. You're not supposed to seek profit off your brethren. It say, unto a stranger thou mayest lend upon usury, but unto thy brother thou shalt not lend upon usury, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all that thou settest thine hand to in the land whither thou goest to possess it. So you're telling you're supposed to lend to your brother if you need it, and you're not supposed to lend him to receive profit from him. If it's a stranger, you could do that with a stranger. But the scriptures tell you in these times, who is your brother and your sister and your mother? Is they that do the will of the Most High. You understand? But lending and looking out for your brethren is something very important. So this Matthew 25. I read from 24. Most people know about the story about the talents. Because like I tell you, when you have plenty, it come like a talent you have. It's to fulfill a balance, because some will have less and some will have more, and the ones who have more are supposed to help the ones who have less. It's like it's a talent. Just like if a brother had plenty knowledge, he would share his knowledge with the ones who had less. Same thing like if a brother had financial stuff, or he had a lot of bountiful stuff that he could use to help his brethren. All of these things come like talents that the Most High has graced you with. And not everything the Most High give you is just for you. Some things is to share with others also, to help them. It's not just for yourself. And that's a good example of what this person did with his talent. I'll start from 24. It say, then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping with thou hast not sown, and gathering with thou hast not strawed, right? And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. So just like how he was wicked and went and hid the talent in the ground, keep it for yourself instead of trying to go and share it with others. It's the same thing you're not supposed to do if you could be able to help a brother, especially if you're in a position to help him. You can't want to be greedy and keep everything for yourself, because the Most High give you what you have, not only to benefit yourself but to fulfill a balance. And just like this servant here who got his talent take away, if you in a position to help brothers and you don't do it, which is what that talent was given to you for, then the Most High might take it away from you, and he will give it to another brother who actually would be willing to help his brothers. So lending and looking out for your brothers is a very important thing. Just like how the scriptures say, charity removeth a multitude of sin. All of these things are very important. Don't ever watch it like something minor. It's to fulfill a balance, and is also for your own good. So now we cover, and there is also another scripture important pertaining to lending. So there's Psalms 112 verse 5. It say, a good man showeth favor and lendeth. Say he will guide his affairs with discretion. Because as the scriptures say, wisdom is the principal thing. You wouldn't see a person or a brother gambling out all the money and then you want to continue giving them money. You just go and gamble all that too. You also have to use wisdom in terms of how you're lending, who you're lending to, how much you're lending, all these different things, all these different situations. A man who has wisdom, he would know how to go about it. So lending is important, but you also have to know how to go about it at the same time. Lending, let me take a look at returning, because whenever you borrow something, it's a verbal agreement you make to return what it is you borrow. For example, if a man in a jam or in a hard position and he cry unto the Most High for help, 10 to 1 the Most High will send somebody, might be one of your brethren, to help you, and you will agree to return what it is you borrow, which is what the law states. If you're not able to return it, then okay. But if you're able to return it and just choose not to, you could have to pay the penalty for that, because it was a verbal agreement that the Most High was witness to hear you say you would return it to him. Now if you could return it to him and choose not to return it to him, that could be required of you. You wouldn't want to borrow $100 and you have the money to pay him back, and the Most High know you have the money to pay him back because he gave it to you. He maybe give you $500, so you know you had the money to pay it back, and you choose not to, and you say, you know what, you're being wicked to your brother, I'll take $300 from you. So you end up losing $300 when you could have just paid $100 back, just for having that kind of wicked mindset. Now it don't even have to be something where your brother could be studying it, because a lot of times when a brother help a brother, he might not even on the return. He was just trying to help your brother. But the Most High is not, the Most High don't think how men does think. If he see that you make an agreement with your brother, he will expect you to pay it back. And if he know you could pay it back and choose not to, just because you don't want to give up that money, he could see that as a wicked thing, and you could receive a punishment for that. It's the Ecclesiasticus, which is like the book of Sirach. Alright? I say there's the Proverbs or the Apocrypha. Sirach 4 verse 31, it say, let not thy hand be stretched out to receive, and shut when thou shouldest repay. So, and there is plenty of wisdom here. You have to understand that things have a principle. If you borrow something, the righteous thing to do is to repay it. That is fairness. The same way a person will show you that love to lend you it, whether it be money, whether it be a material item, whatever the case may be. The person show you that love and lend it when you needed it. So you should return that love and return the person's item, because the item doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the person. If you want to keep something that doesn't belong to you without permission, that is stealing. You wouldn't want to steal from a man of the Most High. That is foolishness. So the Proverbs 21 verse 6, it said, the getting of treasures by a lying tongue is a vanity tossed to and fro of them that seek death. So yes, I have to be very careful when it comes to things like returning, especially making a verbal agreement to return. Because if you say you return something that doesn't belong to you, that would be required of you. You have to be mindful of it. Even though it might look innocent to you, it might look innocent to your brother, the person who in charge, looking at what it is you're doing. So there's Matthew 22. I'll start from 16. It says, and they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, right, saying, Master, we know that thou art true and teachest the way of the Most High in truth. It said, neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the person of men. Because the Messiah was somebody who didn't put water in his mouth to say what he had to tell you. It said, tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or no? But Yahushua perceived their wickedness and said, why temptest ye me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. And he said unto them, whose is this image and superscription? They say unto him, Caesar's. Then said he unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's. So if thy Caesar own, give it to him. And unto the Most High the things that are the Most High's. If something is required of you of the Most High, give it to him. The same way if something was required to you of your brother, which doesn't belong to you, give it to him. It's a balance. You can't always want to receive and never want to give, or even worse, give back. You're trying to break that balance, and when you're trying to break that balance, you're not helping yourself. So lending is something that's very important, but learning to give back is also something very important too. The Most High does watch the ones who never want to give, and the ones who do want to return will also be looked at. So this was a short breakdown on lending and returning, two very important things for brothers to always have the mind on. Okay, always how to help a brother whenever you're going through a hard time, if you're in the position to do so. And you also have to return the love at times. It's not a one-sided thing. And with that, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone at Rowell. And salutations to the Akim around the world, pushing the truth in sincerity. Shalom.